Yes, there's a story in the Sunday Telegraph, page 9 today. Headline is "Stop calling us millennials, say young people." The word millennial, it says, has become synonymous with the young, but evidence suggests they're starting to reject it. And they're rejecting it apparently for two reasons. One, because they don't know what the origins of the word millennial, and secondly, because they find it it's connected too much with negative research. Now, on the name and the origins of it, and I'm a keynote speaker at different events around the world, I speak a lot about generational change because it shapes the future. And millennials came into being as a term because the oldest of millennials, who are now aged under 35, came about at the turning of the millennium, hence the term, which originated in America. Earlier they were called Generation Y, but they didn't like that either because it tied into Generation X, and they're nothing like Generation X. So,
it's tricky to name these groups, isn't it?
It is very tricky. And the negative research side, I mean, as a speaker on that issue, I like to highlight the positive research that comes out about millennials, and I'm very positive about them. They're optimistic. Despite all the problems they face, they're much more optimistic than Generation X that went before them. They're collaborative. You know, mass communication has opened up mass collaboration. They're the guys that are driving what we call open innovation. Companies now sharing ideas in a way that they never did before because we've got to solve big problems. And they put a premium on trust, these young people, which is why at the present time they're driving what I call the ethics revolution. You know, they're asking the questions about means versus ends. If we play with the gadgets, do we have time to think about what we're doing with them, where we're going with them? Technology versus humanity. If we invite tech into our bodies with biochips and the like and nanobots, will we have time to think about the line between man and machine? Is that even important anymore? It's these young millennials that are driving those ethical questions in the economy, the drive for moral capitalism, as they call it. That's all young people. That's all millennials. I think that's a very positive generation.
I think ultimately people are upset with labels that they haven't put on. If you choose your own label, you're all right with that. If somebody else tells you you are something, you're sort of more likely to say, well, no, I'm not, even if you are.
Yeah, well, I'm a baby boomer. I mean, I walked with dinosaurs, and I didn't choose the word baby boomer. It was chosen for me. But, you know, when it comes to describing generational cohorts, somebody has to come up with something.
You've got to label them as something,
It's got to be generic, you know, otherwise it's not a label. If you choose it yourself, it's just an individual thing. And millennial is better than Generation Y, as I said, and they didn't like that either. But I don't care what they call them. I think they're a very exciting generation.
All right, good stuff. I don't know whether I'm young enough to fit into that or whether I just, I'm sitting in the kind of ether between two. What do you do if you're sort of straddling two different ones, Mal? What happens then?
You take the best of both. You claim the best of both. You say, I'm Generation X when it comes to this, and I'm millennial when it comes to that.
I like you. I like that advice. That's great. Just take the best from both and don't worry about what they call you.